Well, we got some breaking news out of Canada. Yes, the finance minister, Christiana Freeland, has resigned. And the letter that she wrote to Prime Minister Trudeau, it really shows that she's lost total confidence in Justin Trudeau. Of course, all of this comes amid the fight over tariffs with President Trump, incoming President Trump, and what that will mean for Canada. This is a bombshell revelation. Of course, she is the same Freeland who was laughing and joking around about freezing the bank accounts of the trucker convoy in all of the COVID restrictions and lockdowns, like as libs of TikTok reminded us. Good riddance to Christiana Freeland. David Clayton is a fantastic journalist in Canada, in Ottawa, Canada, and has been covering this extensively. And we wanted to bring David on to talk all about this bombshell. David, good to see you.
Nice to be back as always, Clayton.
Wow, some crazy news. So you saw this coming. I mean, you saw this coming for a while now. Were you surprised at her tone in this letter to Justin Trudeau?
Well, that I was surprised about. I wasn't surprised she left. I was expecting her to deliver the fall economic statement today and then be fired by Justin Trudeau. That was sort of the scenario we were expecting, or at least by Wednesday, Trudeau would fire her. She has really outstepped him here. She's really outfoxed Trudeau because this letter comes out publicly early Monday morning. She announces, "Hey, I'm not the finance minister anymore. You're on your own, Justin. What are you going to do about the fall economic statement now?" And this letter is so caustic. It's the only way I can describe it. I've never seen a federal cabinet minister resign and write a note like this to the sitting prime minister. She's using language in this letter that is directly from Pierre Poilievre's talking points. This is language that Pierre Poilievre is using to describe Trudeau's economic gimmicks. She actually uses the word gimmick to describe, ostensibly, she doesn't say that, but she says economic gimmicks, and we know what she's talking about. This GST holiday that's going on right now, this free $250 check that's coming in the mail. And she's saying, look, the deficit's gone over 40 billion. It's already been publicly stated by the finance department. We know it's going to be higher than 40 billion. And she's saying, how can I do this? How can I continue to spend more money that we don't have? And I know I'm going to be wearing this on Monday afternoon, and I'm expendable. That's really what she's, just like every other woman in cabinet that you have treated abominably, you're doing it to me. This letter just says that in spades.
Do you think that she resigned freely here, or he either told her to resign before she was thrown under the bus, or there's some sort of prosecution that would be coming down the pipe, and so get out now? What's your sense of this, and what are your sources telling you on this?
I'm really contending that she has outfoxed Trudeau. She says in the letter that Trudeau told her on Friday, "I want you gone as finance minister. I want you to resign." So she was expected to say, "Okay, I'll do the economic statement, then I'll resign." And Trudeau, of course, said, "Well, we've got some other role for you in cabinet." She doesn't say specifically what that was. Probably something something pretty minor. But she said, "Look, I'm not even going to take your leftovers. I'm not going to take the other cabinet position. I'm leaving cabinet." And then she says, "I'm going to run in the next federal election." Almost like she's saying, "Let's have it. Let's have another federal election." And she really behaved in a manner that Trudeau did not anticipate. He expected her to be the loyal cabinet minister to the very end and to just quietly leave office sometime this week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. And God knows what Trudeau has in mind here. I don't believe for a second that Mark Carney, the governor of the Bank of England, is anxious to come into the Trudeau cabinet, because it's like jumping on the Titanic when it's going underneath the waves of the North Atlantic. This is the worst possible time to be joining any government, especially the Trudeau government. So if he really thinks Mark Carney is going to leave everything to become the next finance minister and run for a by-election seat when in fact we're going to have a federal election within the next 3 months. It's guaranteed. But Poilievre today said, bring on your fall economic statement. Let's have a non-confidence vote tonight, Monday night. Let's have a
Hmm.
non-confidence vote. I'll bet you even the New Democratic Party will vote against you, and I think we'll bring down this government today.
When I was reading this letter, I just find some of it just hard to believe. And, so I wonder if this is true. On Friday, you told me you no longer want me to serve as your finance minister. Is that true? Is she outfoxing him with this language? Is that even an honest assessment of what happened? But the real heart of this is the battle with the United States over Trump's incoming tariffs, this idea of America first. So where do you think they're at loggerheads over the idea of these 25% tariffs and Trump's plan for America first economic nationalism going forward?
Well, what I found interesting about this letter, Clayton, as well, was that she's talking about a real Canada first or a real Team Canada policy. And almost like she's implying that Trudeau's not getting it. It's a Trudeau team policy, not a Canada team policy or a Team Canada policy. It's a Team Trudeau policy. And she's saying, why don't you work with the premiers? Trudeau's only working with one premier, and that's Doug Ford, who is exacerbating the problem by promising to cut off energy to the good folks in the northern states, and to cut off Jack Daniels and other U.S. liquor. And that's playing right into Justin Trudeau's hands, because I can tell you this: Justin Trudeau wants a trade war. Justin Trudeau wants a fight with Donald Trump, and he's not working with premiers like Danielle Smith in Alberta, who say, no, we're not going to cut off our oil to the United States, or with the Premier of Quebec, who said, all Donald Trump wants is us to fix the border. Can't we do that? And then there won't be any tariffs. Justin Trudeau is ignoring all of those premiers. Unlike what Christiana Freeland said in her letter today, he should be working with all of the premiers, not just one. But Trudeau is deliberately bringing on a trade war because it's the only thing that might save his job. If he can convince Canadians it's Justin Trudeau against Donald Trump, that evil Donald Trump, the orange man, if he can convince Canadians that it's the Liberal government united with all of the premiers, and we're going to co-opt the official opposition as well in this, then that's the only chance he has of rallying Canadians around the flag, because he's not going to do it with Ukraine, and he's not going to do it with anything else, but he might be able to do it with a trade war. But I'm sorry, it's over for Justin Trudeau. This is a pipe dream. This is delusional.
Yeah, Doug Ford, saying we're going to shut off fuel to the United States. That's our response to these 25% tariffs. What do you think ultimately this means for Trudeau? Both Christiana Freeland's departure and the incoming President Trump. What do you think this portends for him come January?
I think there's a dawning realization, even amongst liberals, that the Trudeau government lacks any legitimacy, any validity, and it needs to be replaced. We need a new government to deal with Donald Trump. And there's not enough time now to just say, well, we'll wait it out for the next 4 weeks and 4 days. Donald Trump will be here on January 20th, 2025. And I think we need to at least indicate that Justin Trudeau has failed and the Trudeau era is over, and we need to start anew. We need a leader who can deal with Donald Trump with a sense of legitimacy. And even former Liberal cabinet ministers are coming out and saying that. We need elections. I was the only one saying we're going to have an election before Christmas. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's a high possibility right now because of the ditch that Justin Trudeau has dug for himself. And this very historic occurrence today of a finance minister resigning. And she was also the deputy prime minister. Let's not forget that. This is a key interlocutor in the Trudeau government who has not just left, but has left angry and has left and told Trudeau, you're not doing the job. And Canadians know it. and you know it, and it's time to move on. She said everything in that letter except resign today, just like I did. But that's really, if you read between the lines in that letter, Clayton, that's what she's telling Justin Trudeau. It's time to go. It's time to resign. Let's have new elections. Let's have a government that can deal with Donald Trump because yours no longer can. He lost another cabinet minister today, too. His housing minister resigned. I mean, this is this is unprecedented in Canadian history for a prime minister to have this sort of thing happen all in one day. And this is like the average week right now because Parliament is completely ossified. There's nothing going on. There's no business going on. And it's just Trudeau posturing before the world as usual and telling Americans they shouldn't have elected Donald Trump. That really went a long way too.
Yeah, I mean, this whole letter is just so fishy to me. I mean, I know it says that she says, you know, that Justin Trudeau asked her to resign on Friday. Something doesn't smell right here. And that's why I'm asking you that. I don't know. Something about the way that this is asked about the resignation piece of this just doesn't smell right. But I don't know. This is really shocking, and I think we're kind of stunned here. But we're going to hold you to it. Let's see if there is an election before Christmas. You've been right about all of these other. You've been right about her before. You've been right about all of this all along. So let's see. There'll be a crazy Christmas up there in Canada.
Well, I don't. If you look at the reaction from the Liberals, and I don't know if you're inferring that Freeland's playing Trudeau's game here with this letter.
Yeah.
That's always possible. But it's not. If that's the case, it's not working because the sense amongst Liberal MPs today is one of absolute hopelessness. Nobody is looking at this as this is a really smart move on Christie's hand here. This really helps Justin Trudeau out. Nobody's saying that. I think this is, as I said when we were talking earlier, Chrissy Freeland looks like a woman who has serious health issues right now. I mean, she often, it takes her up to 10, 12 seconds to answer a question. So I think it's anybody's guess what really went on with this letter. But I don't think it's helping Justin Trudeau.
Yeah. Fascinating. Well, unbelievable story out of Canada today. The fiscal cliff quickly approaching. David Clayton, great to see you as always. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much, Clayton.